There's just something oddly satisfying about watching massive machines do their thing. Whether it's carving tunnels under cities, slicing through rock like it's butter, or turning mountains of compost like it's cake mix, these machines make impossible jobs look effortlessly easy. And today's lineup? Pure engineering satisfaction. Let's jump right in. Ponzi harvesters, tree cutting royalty. When someone hears the word harvester, the first thing that probably pops into mind is a combine, gliding through golden fields of wheat or corn. But forget the farm fields for a second. Ponzi's harvesters don't go after crops. They go after trees, and not in a casual leaf-snipping kind of way. These logging beasts are built to bring down entire trees, clean them up, and cut them to size, all while the operator chills inside a cozy, climate-controlled cabin. Take the Ponzi Scorpion model. This 25-ton marvel rolls on massive 26.5-inch tires and climbs through rough, steep forest terrain like it's a walk in the park. With its hulking mechanical arm, the Scorpion grabs a tree at the base. Then, zip, a retractable chainsaw slices through the trunk like it's nothing. Once the tree is down, it's rotated and passed through a set of rollers that pull it through a delimbing system. Sharp knives strip off every branch with ease, and before you know it, the trunk is measured and cut to precise lengths. And these machines don't guess. They come loaded with sensors that measure the diameter and length of the log in real time. That way, operators never bite off more than the machine can chew. The largest of Ponzi's harvester heads, the H10, stands more than 7.5 feet tall and can handle logs up to 3 feet in diameter. That's not a tree, it's a timber titan. Kojimagumi Gosho Grab, dredger, seabed excavation beast. Now from forest floors to the ocean floor. Underwater excavation might sound like a job for scuba divers, but when the scale is massive, it's time to bring in the big players, like Kojimagumi's Gosho Grab dredger. This floating monster handles dredging operations like it was born to do it. How does it work? A gigantic clamshell-style bucket dangles from a crane barge, getting dropped into murky waters to scoop up mud and sand. The sheer weight alone does most of the job. It just drops down, sinks into the seabed, grabs a mouthful of sludge, and gets hoisted back up. It's simple and oddly mesmerizing to watch. But the Gosho Grab dredger doesn't do things on a small scale. At 330 feet long and 120 feet wide, it tips the scales at a ridiculous 7,052 tons. Just its bucket, yes, just the bucket, weighs in at 370 tons and can reach depths of over 150 feet. That's the equivalent of hauling a full-sized passenger jet straight out of the ocean. And when it scoops big, over 7,000 cubic feet of muck per load. That's almost 900 bathtubs full of sludge in one go. Better not stand under it when it opens up. Damen CSD 500, the suction slayer. Let's stay in the water for a minute, but zoom in on precision. The Damen CSD 500 might look like a prop from a sci-fi movie, but it's a cutter suction dredger designed to remove sediment from sea and riverbeds. Think of it as a mega underwater vacuum with attitude. Its 5-bladed cutting head, about 5 feet in diameter, is covered in 70 rugged chisels. It spins its way down more than 45 feet, grinding and loosening the sediment. Then, the real magic happens. The slurry is sucked up and pumped through at a rate of over 141,000 cubic feet per hour. That's enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool every half hour. Impressive for a machine that's just 126 feet long. But where does all that sludge go? Through pipes connected to the shore, the muddy mess is transported inland and deposited in safe zones. Clean, effective, and strangely satisfying to watch. Colmar Rail Shear, track slayer extraordinaire. Ever looked at a railway track and thought, that looks easy to cut? Of course not. A single yard of modern steel track weighs about 140 pounds. That's no joke. So how do rail crews handle replacing or removing it? Meet the Colmar RP 2000 Rail Shear. This thing looks like a steel dinosaur and chomps with the force of one, too. With a cutting head standing almost 6 feet tall and weighing over 2.5 tons, it clamps down with 1,000 tons of pressure, enough to snap a rail like it's a toothpick. Watching it in action is oddly entertaining, The metal groans, the rail bends slightly, and then crack. One clean, smooth snap, job done. Big boring Bertha, tunnel queen of Seattle. Now it's time to go underground, way underground. Seattle's subway system owes a big thanks to Bertha, a 325-foot-long tunnel boring machine that weighs nearly 7,000 tons. Her mission? Dig a 1.7-mile tunnel under the city without disturbing life above ground. Bertha's giant 57.5-foot cutter wheel grinds through soil and rock, pushing debris through a massive screw conveyor inside the machine. Hydraulic jacks then install concrete rings behind her to keep the tunnel structure intact, allowing Bertha to push forward again and again. Now here's where things got dramatic. About 1,000 feet in, Bertha's cutter head overheated and the machine got stuck completely. A recovery pit had to be dug down just to fix it, costing 2 years in delays. But once the cutter was replaced, Bertha came back with a vengeance and finally finished the tunnel in 2017. It was slow going, only about 35 feet per day, but that's what it takes to safely build a tunnel under a busy city. Bucket wheel excavators, digging giants. If you've never seen a bucket wheel excavator, you're missing out on one of the most awe-inspiring machines on Earth. These beasts are primarily used in open pit mining to remove massive layers of soil covering coal seams. But the crown jewel? The Bagger 293. At 738 feet long, 151 feet wide, and 314 feet tall, the Bagger 293 is one of the largest land vehicles ever made. Its massive 70-foot bucket wheel carries 18 buckets, each capable of scooping up nearly 20 cubic yards of earth. In just 9 rotations, it can fill an Olympic swimming pool with dirt. That's wild. And the best part? It just keeps going. Scoop, dump, repeat. Watching it feels like watching a slow-motion symphony of steel. Bucket wheel trenchers, narrow diggers with big attitude. Need to dig a trench that's long, deep, and precisely shaped? Alcon's EW200 trencher and Tesmex 1475 XLEVO have you covered. Using the same bucket wheel concept, these trenchers carve out long V-shaped or straight-sided trenches. The EW200, for instance, can move 11,300 cubic feet of earth an hour, about 1,400 bathtubs worth. The 1475 XLEVO, it's got a wheel about 13 feet across and digs trenches up to 9 feet deep, perfect for pipelines and cables, and it looks like a futuristic earth-chewing tank as it slowly crawls forward. Tesmec Chainsaw Trencher, earth-slicing legend. Now for something a little more aggressive. The Tesmec 1475. Chain Trencher is a 100-ton machine that looks like a monster-sized chainsaw strapped to a tank. It's used when trenches need to be cut through rocky, hard terrain that other machines can't handle. Its conveyor track is hinged and can pivot deep into the ground, up to 16 feet. As it digs, it chews through the rock, then spits the debris onto a conveyor that flings it aside. Even in tough rock, it can rip through 7,000 cubic feet of material an hour. That's enough to fill 2 18-wheeler trailers. Chemrock cutter wheels, precision in every pass. Sometimes you don't need brute force, you need precision. That's where Chemrock's cutter wheels shine. Mounted on excavators, these wheels are 8 feet in diameter and slice narrow trenches just 6 inches wide. Perfect for laying cables in asphalt without ripping up the whole road. They dig in about 3 feet deep and cleanly deposit the debris off to the side. The DMW series takes things even further, cutting through solid rock and reinforced concrete with up to 10,000 pounds of force. They make tough jobs look so clean and easy, it's hard not to be impressed. Tree crushers, the real Lorax nightmare. Remember Dr. Seuss's The Lorax? Imagine those tree-chomping machines in real life. They exist, and they're terrifying. The Lee Tourneau G 175 tree crusher is a 175-ton forest flattener built in the 1950s. Measuring 56 feet long and 35 feet wide, it moved on 2 massive spiked rollers, flattening entire forests in its path. It was so big it had to be shipped in on 6 rail cars and took 4 days just to offload. Though it's been retired since 1975, it's still parked in British Columbia, now a quirky tourist attraction. What really sets this beast apart is its raw, unapologetic power. It wasn't built to cut or chip trees, but to roll over them entirely, crushing everything in its wake like a giant iron beast. The spiked drums weren't just for traction. They pulverized trees and underbrush into mulch with every turn. Operators had to be skilled enough to navigate rough, forested terrain without tipping the massive frame. Despite its brute force, the machine required careful handling due to its sheer size and limited maneuverability. It was initially developed to help clear land quickly for military and industrial purposes, particularly in remote or densely wooded areas where traditional logging just wouldn't cut it. Armorflex, the concrete puzzle mat. Not all impressive machines are about brute force. Some are about smart design, like the use of Armorflex concrete mats. Instead of placing heavy concrete blocks one by one, cranes simply drop pre-connected mats, held together by steel cables. Each 8 by 21 foot mat weighs over a ton and fits together like the world's most satisfying puzzle. Back in 2011, this system helped construct low water crossings for a solar farm in California, and 5 mats were laid in under 3 hours. Helicopter aerial saw, high-flying blades of doom. Now imagine this, a 20-foot pole with 10 circular saws spinning at 4,000 RPM, dangling from a helicopter. Sounds terrifying, right? This is the aerial saw, used to trim trees near power lines and rail tracks in remote areas. The whole setup weighs 830 pounds and is controlled remotely by the pilot. It slices through branches like butter, even though it's swinging around 90 feet below the chopper. Not for the faint of heart, but definitely one of the coolest machines out there. Vermeer Compost Turner, king of the compost heap. Composting sounds humble, but at industrial scale, it's anything but. The Vermeer CT718. Compost turner is 18 feet wide and uses a central rotating drum to aerate long windrows of compost. It can turn 108,000 cubic feet of compost every hour. That's 257 shipping containers full of rich, earthy material per hour. Efficient, eco-friendly, and surprisingly hypnotic to watch in motion. What's especially remarkable is how the machine maintains the perfect mix of air and moisture throughout the pile, helping microbes thrive and speed up decomposition. The drum isn't just spinning, it's precision engineering at work, flipping material with uniform consistency to avoid dead zones. Rotary snow plows, blizzard busters on rails. When snow piles up on railway lines, trains don't just wait for it to melt, they bring in the big boys. Rotary snow plows, like the 183-ton Union Pacific model from 1966, slice through towering snowbanks using 12-foot rotating blades. These blades spin at 150 RPM, sending snow flying to the sides. But they don't move on their own. Up to 4 locomotives are needed just to push one through thick snow, and even then, they only go 6 miles per hour. Still, when you're facing walls of snow, slow and steady wins the race. Cop wave generator, surfing for power. And finally, a machine that's bringing renewable energy to the waves. Installed off Brazil's coast, the Cop Subsea Wave Power Generator features 2 long arms with giant yellow buoys attached. As waves roll in, the buoys rise and fall, powering hydraulic pumps that spray water into turbines, generating clean electricity. While each setup only produces about 100 kilowatts for now, the idea has potential. With 4,600 miles of Brazilian coastline, there's room to scale up. What's especially fascinating is how this system blends seamlessly into the natural flow of the ocean. It doesn't require huge structures or major coastline disruption. The yellow arms look deceptively simple, but the motion they harness holds serious promise. Each pump stroke is timed with the rhythm of the waves, creating a constant and sustainable energy cycle. That reliability is what makes the tech especially exciting for remote areas where conventional power grids fall short. Imagine coastlines lined with these buoyant arms, quietly generating power from every crashing wave. It's an elegant, low-noise, and sustainable step forward in the green energy race. While still in prototype stages, this Brazilian innovation is capturing global attention, and rightly so. From underwater dredgers and compost turners to high-flying saws and tunnel-boring beasts, these incredible machines transform back-breaking labor into mesmerizing feats of mechanical genius. They don't just work, they perform. Which of these wild machines stole the show? Or which one would be absolutely jaw-dropping to see in person? Let the comments explode. And if this engineering satisfaction hit the spot, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more amazing content that celebrates the world's coolest tech.